Hi, I'm Wilgad, and I'm here doing advanced dry tooling tactics. After you get the basic edges and stuff sorted out, these are the kind of tricks that make it more fun. The last piece was all about edges. Then the next thing after edges, you got various forms of Stein pulls and various forms of cams. And this is like an endless discussion. But what I mean by cams is you stick your tool in somewhere, find a good spot, you twist it, and it holds and it's good. So that's your basic cam. You do that mostly in cracks, but all kinds of places. And then you got various forms of Steins. And that's where you've got your pick on one side of the rock and the head of the tool on the other, and you pull on it. You can use these in large cracks. You can flip them upside down. Your classic like competition Stein pull is like that, where you've got the pick on something, and they're really good. There's massive amounts of force here, so it does tend to break the rock if it's a bit shattered. But your basic Stein pull, and then there's like an endless combination of things you could do with this. You know, you can get into little tiny cracks like that, twist it. That's a great cam. You can get things like that that would be horrible any other way, and as long as you keep the force exactly balanced, you're good. You know, it's just a world of combinations. And then the final one is what I call mank. Things like this. You just stick your, this rules in Scotland. Scotland is home of the weird in terms of climbing, not the people. People are awesome, but in terms of the climbing, things like this are all the time. And in alpine climbing, you tend to do a lot of stuff like this, where you maybe stick your tool in and just pull on it, or get some kind of like weird combination hook, snaggle kind of disaster, and then pull on it. It's just the mank. It's all that stuff. So a couple principles in all of this. For a cam or a Stein pull of any kind, or a mank move of any kind, once you set it and you test it, so I'm going to do my little cam here. If I pull straight down, it's no good. But as soon as I twist it, oh yeah, that's pretty good. But if I move underneath it, then it's going to rip. So just like any other dry tooling, you've got to set the angle of pull and then keep it exactly constant as you move up. You can't just start twisting it like more and more and more, or let it fall down or it'll pop. So set the placement, keep the pull constant by keeping your body organized and moving around that placement, and then go up. So a few specifics about cams, any of these things really. The more pick you can get in there, the better. If you're just on the edge of the crack, it's like a really small nut. The crack might break under the force of the torque, but you can get more in there. Sometimes you can even give it a whack. Now you've got something that's truck. Like you can really, that's cammed, it's not coming out. That's really solid. You can also flip this upside down. Cam it like that. That's actually really good. You can cam them like anywhere, and you can use that at that, as long as you keep that torque the same, it's as good as the rock is. How good is the rock? Well, we're in the Rockies, so variable. This is actually pretty water washed and good. I'd trust that. But if it's granite, it's even better. So you've got your basic cams like that, flip the tool like that, and then if it's a wider crack, you'll have to use more of your pick. Get more of your pick into there to make it, there we go. Yeah, that's good. And the more you pull on that, the better it is. That's the weird thing about it. Everybody always wants to be gentle with these things, but the more twist you apply, the more solid it is until the rock blows up. But I can't just relax it. If I come down here, it falls right out. So when you're climbing, it's kind of tricky because you have to be creative with your body position. I can't just like come over here, it'll pull. I gotta set it. And as long as I'm pulling on it like this, it's good to go. I can make a big move and it's super helpful. Or flip it around like this. Same concept. But as I'm standing up here, if I reach over to here, come in, it's gonna fall out. Come flying out at me, which will be exciting. So you gotta set the cam and then keep the cam going. Stein pulls, the next one. And that again is anytime you've got the pick on something and the head of the tool on something and you're pulling it. It just basically creates a lot of leverage, and they're really good. I use these more and more and more. When you first try them, you're like, nah, this is sketchy, this will never work. You know, and the more you use them, the more you realize how good they are. Like, that is as good as the rock, that is truck. And the advantage to your upside down Stein pull here is you can reach like a really long way off of them. You can go like way up there. Works really well. But again, if you start pulling sideways, it comes out. If you start letting the pick wobble all over, it comes out. You've got to set it and then hold it. And the same rules apply that apply to edges. 90 degrees to the kind of axis of the hold, 90 degrees to the rock, and then don't let it flop around. These are the most obvious one, these kinds of upside down Stein pulls. You see them in comps all the time, and they're really useful in especially in like weird alpine terrain. I use these a lot, but you can also do them in cracks like this. I climb a lot of like hand to fist cracks with my ice tools using my tools like this. This works really, really well. You can actually, you know, you fully load it up on it. You're good to move. So set it and move on it. And there's another classic one here. Once you start having an eye for these, they're everywhere. Like, that would be really hard to get any other placement in, but that is truck. And again, evaluating it from below, you can do the same sort of axis test, wobble it back and forth like that. Is it any good? And then keep it perfectly balanced there. It all relates. And then the mank, you know, a lot of times in alpine climbing, you're doing things like hooking flakes, but the same rules apply. You've got to set the tool at the angle it's going to hold and then keep it there. So that 3-axis idea from the basic dry tooling, you can evaluate it. Does it hold an outward pull? Does it hold a sideways pull? If so, which direction? Yeah, that's good that way. And then what happens if I wobble the tool like that? So that's good. Like, this is really common in alpine dry tooling. You'll get some feature like that, and it's like, it's great this direction, but if you let the tool come this way, it's coming out. If you let the tool wobble, it's coming off. You have to do that evaluation and visualize in your mind how that thing works, and then as you climb up, keep it like totally smooth. It's really good. Ah, the upper one, not so much, but you get the idea on that one. So hooks like that, big giant hooks. And then a lot of times, yeah, the Scotland experience where you stick your whole tool into a crack like that and then start muckling on it, and there's enough friction and grit in there that it holds, and you are good to go. But if you pull down on it, it pops. If you pull up on it, it pops. It's exactly that angle. It's really endless. So if you're a rock climber, you often think like, why don't I just use my hands? There's some truth to that. There are a lot of situations where using your hands makes sense, but it's cold out here. It's like minus 10 Celsius, whatever that is in American, but it's cold. It's really hard to actually hang on and to move with gloves on these edges. Generally, your tools are a lot more secure. There's certain times alpine climbing, you've got like a big flake or something, but this is about the smallest hold you can really happily use with gloves on in the winter. It generally is a lot easier and more secure once you have it figured out to use your ice tools than just dry tool. Dry tooling's awesome. It's a way to reach icicles. It's a sport into its own. It's awesome. I love it. So yeah, practice, top rope lots, try different things, figure out where the edges are, and have a great time. And we'll see you out there.